At that time, I got a call from Vienna, from the biggest musical theater in Vienna, and they asked me if I would be interested to do the German version of a show based on a CD album called Evita. And I said, yes, I'm interested. And because it was by the same writers who did Jesus Christ Superstar. And so I had to deliver, which was not good for my ego, but I had to deliver a sample adaptation of a few pages and a few songs. And I did that. And I got a call, yes, we want you to do this, and I did it. And they asked me to come to Vienna for the rehearsals, because it was the first foreign language production. And there I met two people who became very influential to me. Harold Prince, who was a director in Vienna, and who enjoyed Vienna and was there all the time, all the 8 weeks of the rehearsals. And I met Andrew Lloyd Webber, who was there most of the time too. And I met Tim Rice, but he was not so interested in spending his time in Vienna. Anyway, I became, of course, very interested. And probably my interest was so intense because I had heard all the seminars on movie making. Now I was interested in musical making. I was interested how the musicals are structured. And I found out that Andrew was not only interested in architecture, that was his main interest. He was also interested in the architecture of shows. And I tried to learn from him, and we discussed a lot about the structure of his shows, but more than that, I learned by adapting his material, how he worked. And so I became very intrigued in doing more of that. And so after that, I did a lot of other international shows in German. And you talked this morning about translating or adapting. And actually, I have a very simple formula for what I want to do. I try to become the original writer. I try to creep into the writer. I try to know and understand the writer. And I try to write the adaptation as if the original writer writes the whole thing again, but in German. Knowing, all the, of course, all the verbal things, but it's not only a verbal problem. It is also that has a lot to do with the culture, how we are raised, what kind of advertising we've seen as kids, what kind of songs we sang when we were kids, what kind of movies we saw on TV, and so on and so on. So I tried to never to do something that is my show, but I always tried to step back. I didn't even want it to be mentioned as a translator because it should feel like an original, and it succeeded. And I'm sure that in one respect I had a great opportunity, a great advantage, because writing for pop singers, not very good pop singers, most of them, for 20 years taught me with what kind of vocals, what kind of words I can use in a song. And so my songs in these adaptations were very singable. And the actors liked that. And the producers didn't understand anything about it, but they felt it flows, you know. So they didn't know why it flows, but they were happy. And most of these, I can almost say, all of them became pretty successful. And so, you know, I became the #1 adapter? I don't like to use the word translator, because translating is not really what I do. Yeah, so some of them were, of course, you mentioned them already. Phantom of the Opera, of course, Into the Woods, Little Shop of Horrors. And the great thing about this was not only that I learned a lot about American and West End musicals and how they are structured. I also met the people behind them, you know. So I met Sondheim, I met Kander and Ebb, I met, of course, Andrew Lloyd Webber, I mentioned that already. And, but my mentor became Harold Prince, because he very soon told me, Michael, you should write your own musical. And I said, yes, this is why I'm so interested in learning everything about the musical. But I would not write something out of, you know, an American mentality or something that is working in the West. And I'm not interested in just copying, you know, what they do, because I certainly can't do it better than they do. And what is the point, you know, if I just copy what there is? And he said, okay, if you have an idea, you talk to me. So that was a mistake from him, because I did talk to him, because I had an idea. I wanted to write something about the turn of the century, from the 19th to the 20th century.